Hey everybody, Jesse here with Shred and Enjoy. We just had an awesome weekend out playing with all the different toys out at Primeville Reservoir on our good friend Trayson's boat. And thanks to the rad folks at Hillcrest, you're able to try the Connelly Ono in 5'3". And yeah, this is our new favorite board. And we're going to tell you all about it here in a second. Stay tuned. Alright guys, let's start with the basics. So here we have the Connelly Ono, and we were able to demo this from Hillcrest out in Gresham. That is where we've actually bought most of our boards and where we generally get our demos from, and we highly recommend them. So if you're looking to demo some boards, check them out. Can't say enough good things about them, and last time I said too much, so I'm going to just leave it right there. But yeah. Board retails for, I want to say $780 is what I saw pretty much everyone has it for online. This is this year's, unlike some of our other boards we reviewed last year's, which the color is all changed and the shape was identical. So anyways, we're actually current on this one. But yeah, so we got this board in 5'3". This is the model they had. It is recommended for riders 180 pounds and up. Of the riders today, I'm definitely a healthy amount over 180. I found it perfect. Savannah rode it. I believe she's a bit under 180, and she's a little bit more of a novice. Worked great for her. And then Trayson is 179. He's very adamant about that exact weight, so he's slightly under this. And it worked good for him. He usually rides a shorter doom swell, but he had a lot of positive things to say about it, and we'll cover those in a bit. But yeah, let's talk about the shape. So the Connelly Ono is a surf-style wake surfboard, which might sound redundant. However, there's a lot of skim-style boards and hybrids out there like the shim, and this seems to be unapologetically just surf. Based on what I read for their description of it, and quite honestly looking at it, it is basically a high-performance shortboard for shape in the ocean. Borrows a bit from a groveler for the width, for those of you familiar with the term of groveler in the ocean. But yeah. Definitely a surf style board, and it definitely surfs that way. Rocker is pretty flat, honestly, throughout, and then kicks up probably about here or so, I would say, so in the last little bit. And you can see it gets quite narrow at the end. A lot of other companies will kind of hammerhead right about here and then say, like, oh, it's a 5.0. Like, this just has that little bit of flip tip on the end. So, yeah, Rocker, pretty good. Definitely not as aggressive as the Satellite, definitely not as flat as the shim. So to kind of give you a comparison to some other boards out there, I will no longer be mentioning the landlocking comparisons. It is a unique large board of its own category for total beginner boards. But yeah, back to the shape though overall, you talk about the bottom contours. So taking a look through it, it's kind of flat through the nose and then very quickly transitions into a double concave through the middle. You can feel it going across your hands. And then that center channel is a deep V all the way back. And then it's got a channel through here and here. And actually you can feel another little channel through here. And so all this channeling equates to speed. And that's one of the main things that we'll talk about with this board. Speed, which is really usable, easy to play with. But with the different fin configurations, you can make it really loose or, in my opinion, too grippy with what it ships with as a quad. But we'll talk about all that in a second. Important aspect to talk about with this board is the edges. And what's nice about this board is it takes kind of more of that traditional ocean surf approach where it's got this hard edge underfoot through the tail, and then it slowly transitions to softer as you start to get up under your front foot, and then it definitely softens up a fair bit. I like that. The Satellite doesn't have that. For example, the Satellite's soft all the way back, and I think that kind of equates to the back foot being a little looser on that. I like this setup. It's kind of what I'm used to surfing the ocean. Works really good behind the boat. I think they really nailed the edges on this board. So one thing I want to mention before going any further into this board and how it rode for all of us is that the boat we were on and the wave we were on, in my opinion, changed substantially. Trayson was given a different Wakesurf gate to not really demo, I guess product test. I believe it's a blend prototype or something that he was working with. And we also had less people in the boat, and we were kind of playing with where everyone was. And it resulted in a longer, less steep wave, in my opinion. Still had good height, not as steep, lots of length. In my opinion, when I've surfed behind Trayson's boat, traditionally it's a little bit shorter and a little bit steeper. I believe that is probably due to the days I'm out are generally warmer weather days. There's a bunch of people who's wanted to go, who's invited a whole bunch of people, and that equates to a lot of people in the boat, and the position tends to be less about what's best for the wake and what's more about like where people wound up with their wake claws. But Trayson swears that this wave that we were surfing is normally what they have. His wife agreed. I could be wrong, but I'm going to caveat the whole review with that little bit of information. So, pros of how this board surfed. Fast was on everyone's mind. And for me, fast wasn't something that was hard to manage or difficult to work with, because Connelly describes this as an advanced to expert level board. I actually disagree. I'm more of the intermediate. I could possibly be construed as advanced, maybe. I don't know. I don't surf with enough other people, not in the ocean, behind boats. The speed was really nice. That combined with what I think was a longer, friendlier wave, less steep, I should say, was that I was able to get way, way, way further back than I ever could on any other board and work my way forward again, which allowed me to get back and take like 1, 2, 3 bottom turns and work my way up before I slash or slide it sideways or anything like that. And that's really cool. I've never been able to do that. And I was actually able to I really pushed myself far back just to see what I could do. And I had water slapping up against my knee and really just kind of way, way back, and generally well past the point of no return for any other board I've surfed, whether it was the shim or I actually took the satellite out back to back with this to kind of compare the two. And that board definitely did not like a wave that wasn't as steep, noted for my own personal riding. But yeah, so speed on this was great, and it was workable speed, and it never caused problems, and it allowed me to use more of the wave, and it was great. So pro, definitely really enjoyed that aspect of it. Another pro was the handling on it. So there's different fin setups you can run on it. It comes with the 2.1 fins, and they're all FCS2, and then it comes with a 3.7. We primarily ran this with the 3.7s as a twin. And it's got the 2 ones in it, as you can see. I was doing some silly stuff, and I'll talk about that later. But with the 3.7s in here as a twin, it was phenomenal. It had tons of drive, super easy to work with that speed, loose when you wanted it to. I found I could do anything with this board that I've been able to do with any of my other boards. The only thing I would say is I couldn't really force it sometimes and kind of really just kind of make it do something quick and come back. And a little bit more grip with the 3.7s. But I rode it with the 3.7s. I really enjoyed it. That's definitely kind of primarily where I expect to go with it. Savannah, my fiance, rode it with 3.7s and did the best surfing she's ever done on any board ever, which sounds great, but is unfortunate because now I have to buy this. So the 3.7s were good. Even Trayson trying it, and he's used to a much shorter dune swell, he was impressed with the speed of it, and he felt it was loose enough to do what you need to do. Definitely, he felt the larger swing weight, but it's also wider. But yeah, so that's another pro. We'll talk about fins more as we go. But yeah, overall, it's a super fun, slashy board. The width of this board is quite wide, as you can see through the size of even the stop pad back here. Like the kick pad on this is huge. I don't even think you can purchase something like this wide for ocean surfing. I'd be curious to measure this against my Groveler too. Like, it just seems pretty big. My 6'2" Firewire sweet potato Groveler, which is like 62 liters, so massive, chunky, fat kid Groveler. I don't feel, it doesn't feel as wide as this, and the kickpad's definitely not this big. So big board, which is great. I was able to work with it as a heavy rider, do everything I wanted to do with it. It was really fun. Savannah as definitely beginner to intermediate is probably fair. It's all relative. The skill levels of wake surfing seem a little lower than ocean surfing, but she's definitely probably somewhere in beginner to intermediate now. And the width worked really good for her once she got her feet in the right place. And she'll talk more about that. But as a novice riding this board, you will want to make sure that your feet are definitely centered to it, if not a tiny bit toe heavy, presuming you're riding on your toe side, front side. But yeah, I personally just rode it centered, and it rode great and worked good. Yeah, so those are pros. One other pro of this board worth mentioning is the fin boxes are FCS2. They are quick release, so you can just pop them in and out. They do have the little set screws here, so you can use those as well. I always use those out of paranoia. I have a distrust for some of that FCS2 quick in, quick out stuff, but it definitely works. I don't know why I have it. Pulling these things out, even with the set screws out, requires like putting something padded between here and ripping on it. Like, there's no way these fins are coming out. So yeah, FCS2, awesome that they did that instead of some weird proprietary thing like some of the other board companies do. So big fan. Right out of the gate, we definitely got to talk about the price. It is $780. That's where I see it priced everywhere. That's what Hillcrest wants for it. That's probably what I'm going to have to pay for it, unfortunately, since it's a brand new model and might be the only one they have in there. But yeah, expensive. My comparison for that is the Shim and the Satellite. Even, I mean, I guess we bought the Landlock, not the same type of board or anything like that, but these were substantially cheaper, by the tune of $200 cheaper, $300 cheaper. And, you know, this is a APS foam core, epoxy. I guess it's got some sandwich construction stuff going on. Traction pad up front. So there could be something I don't know about this board that makes it a lot more expensive. You know, you can take a look on the bottom, and it looks like, based on some of this material they have in here, it looks like they added some stuff to it. These, in theory, could be carbon stringers. I'm not certain exactly where the cost came from. It just seems steep. In ocean surfing, you can get custom handmade boards to your exact specs. I think the last one I got a quote on was for a 7'6", like big dude, mid-length fish. And it was big, and it was going to be, I think it was $725 with sales tax, hand shaped for me and hand glassed with a aggressive glassing schedule. So that said, this construction is super durable. I would trust this over a poly setup, but yeah. So this board is a little spendy. So that's the first con. No other cons other than price, really, though. I mean, it rips. It's really good, so it kind of justifies the price. I definitely will possibly sell these. Savannah doesn't really care that much about them, other than this one's pretty. This one's great when the wave is steeper, and if I sell this and then Trayson's wave goes back to steep, he claims it's the same as always. But anyways, if it goes back that way, you know, I'll probably miss this. But yeah, there's really just nothing I can really fault this board for. I think they nailed it overall. Price is just a minor stick. Final con that I can think of is not specific to Connelly. It's kind of my gripe with Thinstring in general, is they've all got this big warning label just printed right into it. This can't scratch off. It's just in the actual board itself. And it's just kind of annoying, and it's an unnecessary reminder, and it just doesn't look good. It's not a color match. I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. I understand they need to have it for litigation reasons or whatever, but like, could you maybe include a sticker that perfectly fits over it and is your logo, and then because I put the sticker on it, I'm responsible for having covered that up? Or I don't know, just something. Just in general, I really just don't like this printed in warning label that everyone does. It's on the shim. It's even bigger on the shim. It's on the satellite. It's ridiculous. Everyone's doing it. I just don't like it. So that's something I don't like, and I hope more people would stop doing it or just include a sticker that fits over it. That would take care of the whole problem. Okay, so let's talk fin configuration on this. Like I said, I have the 2 1s on here. That's what I last had and was goofing around with. It actually comes with 3 1s. I just looked at the website, and I think it's a 3.7, and I quoted that. Nope, it's 3.1 according to this. So yeah, you can ride it set up as twin with the 3 1s. That's what we primarily did, and that's what I recommend. That's what I think just about anyone who's riding this is going to do. We did ride it as a quad, again, with the 3 1s up here and the 2 1s back here. Super grippy, couldn't throw it sideways. Added a little bit of stability, maybe. I don't know what it yielded for a benefit that anyone would need, but I can't recommend this as a quad. Savannah rode it, and she was first getting her first turns, and none of her problems related to the board being too squirrely or loose. For fun, as you can see, I put the 2 1s in and rode it with just the 2 1s as a twin, and it was ridiculous. I can literally just turn the board sideways on the rope and just kind of slide sideways and do whatever. I tried to do 360s and wound up doing 720s. I tried to do 180s and instead did 360s. Yeah, it's just too small a fin for that. I can't recommend it. I will say, however, that something between these two would be super fun. I'd be really interested in seeing kind of, something like a 2.7 or something that splits the middle that makes spinning a little bit easier, because, these are a little grabby, but allows you to recover from the spin. And I think there's a happy medium there. And I will say, even with these 2 1s, once I got myself in position, I can move down, I can slash. I could ride this board pretty darn similar to this and recover pretty similar and just kind of work with the edges pretty well. But I think something in between is kind of the sweet spot for me, and I hopefully can find that from Connelly.
I'm Savannah. I'm a beginner intermediate rider, and this is the Connelly Ono 5 foot 3 inches. A couple things I have to say about it. It's super easy to flip behind the boat, easy to get up, so a lot easier than my shim. Love getting up behind the boat. Also, this line down the middle helped me keep my foot center, so I had a good balance between my heel and toe edge, especially for turning. This pad, same thing. With the light turquoise in the middle, I just kept my foot center of that. It was easy for turning. This board's super fast, so when I was on the wave, I was able to stay in the pocket. If I kind of fell off the wave in the back, I was able to get back into the pocket really fast. Turning, this weekend I did the most turning I've ever turned, and I was able to turn up on the wave, go back down, turn up, turn down, and it felt really good. It felt like a surfboard. I felt like I was surfing in the ocean. I say go home and buy one of these. They're awesome.
All right, guys, so you just heard from Savannah, and yeah, as she mentioned, this board treated her really well, let her progress. There's a lot of little design details that worked really good for her that aren't present on other boards, and you might not think, and I don't even think were intentional on this board. They just happen to work really well. One thing I will add for other beginners out there, or beginner intermediate riders, is as far as foot placement goes on this board, she talked about how right in this area worked really good. At first, she was pretty far back on the kick pad here, and that was causing problems for her. Right about here treated her best, treated me best as well. I think it's worth mentioning, if you look, that puts you right over the twins, or when you're quad, the lead fins, and it's kind of canon in surfing that your foot position should be right over your fins, and that's where people talk when they tell people to put their pads. And so anyways, right about here, puts your foot over the fins, and yeah, that worked best for her. But yeah, overall, it's a great board. It's fast. I think Connelly's really onto something with this. I don't think they're right to call this an advanced expert level board. I think it treats everyone great. Could just be the amazing wave we had. It was super long and friendly and fun, and yeah, I enjoyed it. Only thing we'll probably do different in the future is this is a 5 foot 3. It's meant for riders over 180, which is me. Savannah is under 180. Trayson's right at 180. They make a shorter version of this, and I would be curious to see how both of them like and do on it. So if we can get a hold of it, that would be awesome. Connelly, if you're listening to this, send a demo to Hillcrest. We'll take it out. Send us one. Or, I don't know, maybe if you're someone out there who happens to have the shorter version of this and loves it as much as we do and wants to share it, please reach out to us. We'd be super happy to try it. I think Savannah might have a better time on it. Who's to say? It'd be cool to update the review with that. Other little bit of detail that I'm curious to see about is this comes with 2 fins. These are kind of meant to be quad trailer fins, although interestingly enough, the foil on them lets you run them as forward since it's kind of flat on the inside. But it comes with the 2.1 and then the 3.7. And the 3.7 was great. As a twin, we were able to do everything we wanted with it. A little grippy for spins, though. Definitely not the best for trying 360s on it. And then these 2.1s by themselves, they weren't meant to be ridden up here, but I tried it, and it was laughably loose. But it was super easy to spin, too easy to spin. I tried a 360, did a 720, did a 180, and did a 360. I couldn't figure out how to not spin way more than I meant to, and it was impossible to stop because the board just wanted to just keep going. And I'd be curious if there's a happy medium in there, because I still, even with these 2.1s, was able to get back, do my moves, do everything slash, turn it sideways. I could turn it even more sideways. It was really fun. I was kind of doing what I would in skateboarding, so we call like a front lip slide up on the lip, and it was really fun. So I'm wondering if there's like a 2.9 or maybe like a 3.3 or something in between that loosens it enough to spin easy and recover from the spin and kind of keep shredding. But also still grippy enough to give that awesome surf feeling. So yeah, we'll see where we go with it, but ultimately we demoed it and we liked it so much that we took it home. So yeah, we highly endorse it. We're excited to see where it goes long term, and yeah. Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed this review. Hopefully you found something informative out about it and you know more about the board. Please subscribe. We're going to post up all sorts of fun stuff we do, whether it's mountain biking, wake surfing, traveling, just kind of, we like to shred and we like to travel. So we'll have some videos of all that. And yeah, please subscribe. Hope you enjoy it. And we'll see you at our next wake surf review or whatever it is we do next. See you guys.